Detective Ryan Cole stood in the middle of the small, dimly lit crime lab, staring at the evidence bag in his hand. Inside it was something so ordinary, yet so disturbing, a piece of chewed, pink gum, stuck to a blood-stained napkin. "This is it," he whispered. "This little thing could destroy everything." The room was silent except for the hum of the air vent. Ryan felt sweat sliding down his temple. He knew what that gum meant. It wasn't just DNA evidence, it was a message. The killer had left it there on purpose. He turned to his partner, Detective Melissa Grant, who looked pale under the harsh fluorescent lights. "It's his signature," she said quietly. "He's taunting us again." Ryan nodded. The city had been haunted for months by a murderer the press called the Naked Gum. Every victim was found with the same eerie clue, a single piece of chewed gum stuck somewhere near the body. No fingerprints, no cameras, no leads, just the gum. But this time, something was different. The DNA from this gum matched someone Ryan knew, someone he trusted. His hands shook as he read the name on the report. Ryan Cole. He froze. His own DNA was on the gum. Melissa stepped closer. "Ryan, what is it?" He looked up, panic in his eyes. "It's me. The lab says the gum belongs to me." Melissa's face went pale. "That's impossible." "I know," Ryan said. "But someone made it possible." A sudden knock on the glass window made them both jump. Captain Reynolds stood outside, his face hard. "Cole," he barked. "My office. Now." Ryan's stomach dropped. The gum was supposed to catch the killer, but now it was turning him into the suspect. The city lights flickered outside as thunder rumbled. Something big was about to break. Cliffhanger line. If the gum wasn't his, then who was setting him up, and why did they want everyone to believe he was the Naked Gum? It all started 3 weeks earlier, long before that cursed piece of gum ended up on the captain's desk. Back when Ryan still believed he could control the truth. Ryan Cole wasn't new to crime. He'd been a detective in the Chicago Police Department for 15 years. He'd seen murder, betrayal, and enough lies to fill an ocean. But nothing prepared him for this case. The first victim was found in an alley behind a diner. A young woman named Katie Miles, 22 years old, college student. No enemies. No reason anyone would want her dead. She'd gone out for coffee and never came home. When Ryan arrived at the scene, he saw her lying under a broken streetlight, her hands folded neatly on her chest. No struggle. No signs of robbery. But the gum, pink, freshly chewed, was stuck to her forehead. "That's sick," Melissa had muttered when she saw it. "Who does something like that?" "Someone who wants to be remembered," Ryan said. And just like that, the Naked Gum case began. Over the next 2 weeks, 2 more bodies appeared. Same pattern. Same gum. Ryan started sleeping less, drinking more coffee, and watching every suspect twice. He knew serial killers loved patterns, and this one was meticulous. The gum wasn't random. It was a signature. But things got personal when the 4th victim showed up. She was found outside a convenience store, her face pale under the streetlight glow. Ryan's blood ran cold when he saw her. It was Lisa, his ex-girlfriend. He stood frozen, his heart pounding so hard it hurt. Melissa whispered, "Ryan, I'm so sorry." On Lisa's shoulder, pressed into her skin, was the same pink gum. That night, the city turned into a storm of police sirens and flashing red lights. News reporters gathered outside the station, shouting questions. Is it true one of the victims knew the detective? Is this a copycat? Does the killer have a connection to law enforcement? Ryan ignored them all. He just sat at his desk, staring at the gum sample under the evidence light. He felt something break inside him. 3 days later, the lab results came back, and everything spiraled out of control. His DNA, his saliva, his bite pattern, all a perfect match to the gum. Captain Reynolds stormed into the bullpen, tossing the folder on Ryan's desk. "You care to explain this?" Ryan looked up, his voice low but steady. "It's a setup. Someone's framing me." Reynolds folded his arms. "You're saying a ghost planted your DNA on 3 separate victims." Melissa tried to defend him. "Captain, there's no way. Ryan was with me during the second killing. I can prove it." But the captain wasn't convinced. "Until I see hard proof, Cole, you're on suspension. Hand over your badge." Ryan's hand trembled as he removed his badge. It felt like giving away his life. After he left the station, he sat in his car, staring at the rain hitting the windshield. For the first time in his career, he felt powerless. Someone out there was laughing, watching him fall apart piece by piece. He went home and found an envelope on his doorstep. No return address. Inside was a piece of pink gum, stuck to a folded note. It said, "You shouldn't have left me." His hands clenched. He looked around, heart racing. There was no one in sight. He called Melissa immediately. "He's watching me. Whoever's doing this, they know where I live." She rushed over within 20 minutes. Together they examined the envelope, gloves on, lights off. Ryan's apartment was dark, the only sound the steady ticking of the clock on the wall. Melissa picked up the note. "Left you?" she asked. "What does that mean?" Ryan swallowed hard. "Lisa said those words to me once. Before we broke up." Melissa frowned. "You think she's connected to this?" "She's dead," Ryan said. "Whoever killed her is trying to use her words to mess with me." That night, sleep never came. Every creak in the walls felt like a whisper. Every sound outside made Ryan grab his gun. By morning, another envelope arrived, this time at Melissa's house. It contained a photo of Ryan sleeping in his bed, and under it, the words, "Sweet dreams, detective." Melissa called him, her voice trembling. "Ryan, he was in your house. He's close." Ryan sat down, feeling the world spin. The killer wasn't just framing him. He was toying with him. Over the next few days, Ryan started digging into old cases, anyone he'd arrested, anyone who might have a reason to want revenge. But nothing fit, until he found a name. Mark Ellis. A man Ryan had arrested 10 years ago for assault. A man who used to chew the same brand of gum, Bright Bubble. Ryan remembered the detail from the trial. Mark had a habit of spitting gum at people when he was angry. He'd been released from prison 6 months ago. Ryan's pulse quickened. "That's it," he said aloud. "It has to be him." But when he ran the name through the system, the file showed something strange. Mark Ellis was dead. 2 months ago. Ryan stared at the screen, his mind spinning. Then who's doing this? Melissa leaned over his shoulder. "Or maybe," she whispered, "Mark's not as dead as we think." Before Ryan could respond, his phone buzzed. A new message. It was a picture of Melissa standing beside him in the office, taken from outside the window. The caption read, "Smile for the camera." Ryan froze. "He's watching us right now." Melissa ran to the window. Nothing. Just the reflection of the two of them under the flickering lights. Ryan grabbed his gun. "He's close. Too close." And that was when they heard it, 3 slow knocks on the door downstairs. Ryan and Melissa exchanged a terrified look. Then the knocks came again. Louder. Melissa whispered, "Ryan, don't open it." He stepped forward, heart pounding. The door creaked as he turned the knob, and something slid under the door. A single piece of pink gum. Ryan bent down, staring at it. The gum was still warm. Someone had just chewed it. He looked back at Melissa. "He's here." Before he could react, the lights flickered, then went out completely. The room plunged into darkness. And somewhere in the silence, a voice whispered, "I told you, Ryan, you can't hide from me." The darkness swallowed the room. Ryan's heart pounded so loud it echoed in his ears. Melissa froze beside him, her breathing shallow and quick. The only light came from the faint glow of the street lamps outside, casting thin, ghostly lines through the blinds. "Ryan," Melissa whispered, gripping her gun. "He's inside." Ryan nodded slowly, his own weapon raised, eyes darting toward the sound of the voice. Every muscle in his body tensed as he listened. The silence that followed was thick, suffocating. He could feel the presence of someone else, close, watching, waiting. Then came a sound. A creak, soft, slow, coming from the hallway. Ryan took a cautious step forward. His eyes strained in the dark, trying to make sense of the shapes around him. Melissa aimed her flashlight, but the beam flickered and died almost immediately. The power was completely out. "He cut the electricity," Ryan muttered. "He planned this." Melissa swallowed hard. "What do we do?" Before Ryan could answer, something clattered in the kitchen, a metal object hitting the floor. Both of them spun toward the sound, guns ready. "Police!" Ryan shouted. "Come out with your hands up." No response. Just the eerie hum of the refrigerator, until that, too, went silent. Then, a voice, calm, quiet, but chillingly close. "You can't catch what you don't understand, detective." Ryan spun around. "Show yourself." A shadow moved past the doorway, fast, too fast. Melissa fired a shot, the gun's flash lighting up the room for an instant. The bullet hit the wall, leaving a small puff of dust. Footsteps ran up the stairs. Ryan chased after them, ignoring Melissa's shout to wait. His boots pounded against the steps as he reached the landing. The hallway stretched before him, empty, or so it seemed. Then, at the far end, he saw it, a faint red glow. A phone screen. Recording. Ryan aimed his gun and shouted, "Freeze." But when he reached the end of the hall, the light vanished. The phone was gone. Instead, there was a note taped to the wall. Written in the same handwriting as before. "You left me to rot, Ryan. Now it's your turn." Ryan's stomach turned. He ripped the note down and ran back toward the stairs. "Melissa," he shouted. No answer. He raced down, gun ready, and stopped dead. The living room was empty. The front door was wide open. The cold night air blew in through the doorway. On the floor, right where Melissa had been standing minutes ago, was another piece of pink gum. Fresh. Still warm. Ryan's voice cracked. "Melissa." He ran out into the street, scanning the shadows, the alleys, every passing car. Nothing. She was gone. He fell to his knees, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The killer hadn't just broken in. He'd taken her, and left the gum behind as proof. Hours later, Ryan sat alone in the station's interrogation room. His badge and gun lay on the table in front of him. The entire precinct was in chaos. Detectives whispered behind the glass window, trading rumors and doubts. Captain Reynolds entered, his expression grim. "Cole," he said, closing the door. "You want to tell me what happened?" Ryan ran a hand through his hair. "He took her. The man we've been chasing, the naked gum. He broke into my house, killed the power, and took Melissa." Reynolds folded his arms. "And you expect me to believe that?" Ryan's head snapped up. "You think I did this?" The captain's jaw tightened. "You were alone with her. The neighbors heard gunshots. You have no proof anyone else was there." Ryan slammed his fist on the table. "He's framing me, Captain. He's using my DNA, my life, everything. You have to listen." The door burst open. Officer Briggs, a young rookie, ran in holding an envelope. "Sir," he said breathlessly, "this just came in through the drop box." Reynolds frowned. "What is it?" Briggs handed it to him. "It's addressed to Detective Ryan Cole." Ryan's hands trembled as he opened the envelope. Inside was a small photo. Melissa, tied to a chair, her mouth gagged with duct tape. Behind her, a shadowy figure stood holding something pink in his hand. A piece of gum. Ryan's voice cracked. "He has her." On the back of the photo were 4 words written in thick, black ink. "Find me before sunrise." Reynolds looked at him. "If this is real, we need to alert SWAT." Ryan interrupted. "No. He wants me. If I bring a team, she dies." The captain hesitated, then nodded reluctantly. "You've got 6 hours, Cole. Don't make me regret this." Ryan pocketed the photo, grabbed his badge and gun, and walked out. The city was silent as he drove. It was almost 1 a.m. The streets glistened with rain, and every passing light felt like an omen. Ryan's thoughts raced. Who was he? Why Melissa? Why me? He parked near the old industrial district, the part of town no one visited after dark. Factories long abandoned stood like skeletons in the fog. Then he saw it. A faint light glowing inside one of the buildings. He entered quietly, gun raised. The air smelled of rust and dust. Water dripped from a leaking pipe somewhere above. His footsteps echoed as he moved down the corridor. Then, he heard her voice. "Ryan." "Melissa." He ran toward the sound, his pulse hammering. He turned a corner and froze. She was there, tied to a chair in the middle of the room, a single light bulb hanging above her. Her eyes were wide with fear. "Melissa." He rushed forward. But before he could reach her, the door slammed shut behind him. Ryan spun around, aiming his gun, but there was no one there. Then, from the shadows, the killer spoke again. "You really thought it would be that easy?" Ryan turned toward the voice. A figure stepped out from the dark. It was Mark Ellis, or someone who looked exactly like him. Ryan's eyes widened. "That's impossible. You're dead." The man smiled, a cruel, twisted smile. "Dead? Maybe on paper. But you should know better, detective. You're the one who made me this way." Ryan's hands shook. "I put you in prison because you were dangerous. You attacked a woman. You." "I did what I had to do," the man shouted. "And you made sure I never saw daylight again. I rotted in a cell for 10 years while you got to play hero." Ryan took a step closer. "What do you want from me?" The man grinned. "I want you to feel what I felt. Powerless. Trapped. Forgotten. He pulled a gun from his coat and aimed it at Melissa's head. Ryan's heart stopped. No, don't do this. You have two choices, Mark said coldly. Put down your weapon and walk away, or she dies right here. Ryan hesitated. His mind raced. If he dropped his gun, he'd lose control. But if he didn't, Melissa was dead. He lowered his weapon slowly. Good, Mark said, smirking. Now let's finish what you started. Suddenly, Ryan lunged. He grabbed a nearby pipe and swung it, knocking Mark's gun aside. The two men crashed to the ground, struggling violently. Melissa screamed, trying to break free from the ropes. Ryan punched him again and again, shouting, "You ruined everything." Mark fought back, slamming Ryan into the wall. The gun slid across the floor. Ryan crawled toward it, his fingers inches away. A shot rang out. Ryan froze. Mark stood over him, holding the gun, smoke rising from the barrel. Ryan looked down and saw blood spreading across his shirt. Mark knelt beside him, whispering, "Now you know what it's like to lose everything." Melissa screamed, tears streaming down her face. Mark dropped the gun beside Ryan's body and turned to leave. But as he reached the door, Ryan's voice rasped from behind him. "You forgot something." Mark turned. Ryan, bleeding heavily, held up the small piece of gum Mark had dropped during the fight. "I've got your DNA now." Mark's eyes widened. Ryan fired the gun. The bullet hit Mark in the chest. He fell to the floor, gasping. Ryan crawled toward Melissa, his vision fading. "It's over," he whispered. Melissa sobbed. "Stay with me, Ryan. Please." But Ryan's head dropped. His eyes began to close. Outside, the first light of dawn crept through the broken windows, illuminating the scene. Two bodies, one alive, one dying, and a single piece of pink gum lying between them.